Hello, everybody, and welcome in. Bloody Good Horror is back. My name's Eric, and I'll be your host for this evening, where we will be reviewing Exhuma. What is the country of origin of this film, John? Before I say something ignorant?
South Korea.
That's what I thought. Joining me tonight, first up, from the Bay Area of San Francisco, please welcome Rachel to the show.
Hello.
Next
Raising
up,
the roof.
From the cornfields of Indiana, please welcome Casey.
Hello.
And last up tonight, from the sewage-filled streets of New York City, please welcome Josh Norris to the show.
Eric, have you seen we have trash cans now? The mayor famously...
Did I send you that meme? Somebody on Instagram was like, I'm losing it over New York City discovering trash cans in 2023.
There was like a bunch of stuff about that. There was a bunch of stuff about they paid McKinsey like $5 million to come up with trash cans as an idea. Yeah. But yeah, it's nice.
Yeah, Boston has that problem too. Just like people just throwing all their garbage on the curb and it's just ripe.
No, well, that was like you were supposed to do that. Not people aren't supposed to throw their garbage, but like buildings unload the garbage and just bags onto the side of the street. And now the buildings have to use trash cans. And it's cleaner. I mean, I wouldn't say it's like much cleaner, but so far so good.
We skipped last week because I was sick. I am still sick, although I guess I'm getting over it, more or less.
Thank goodness.
These guys made me do this again. So here we are. Let's take a quick break so that we can review Exhuma.
This is it, Jennifer. Your big breaking TV. From the prime time. Main feature.
Should we just give the color, really, though, about how you canceled the show last week when it was like, you know, you were watching the movie. It's like 2 hours before we're supposed to record.
This movie made me ill.
And you're just like, can't do it.
You ever just have a sickness come on like real fast? I mean, that's legitimately what happened. Like,
not when I was watching a movie.
I felt a little tired for like the first half of the day. And then I worked out. And then I sat down to watch this movie. And immediately just started feeling like death, as it was going. I also, if I'm being honest, John, and we can get into it, not enjoying the first half of this movie so much. And I just was like, listen, you're going to get a 300% more pleasant experience reviewing this movie with me tonight than you would have if we had forged on last week.
You were very upfront, and you were just like, look, we can do it, but you're not going to want my review of this movie
I think I said, like, you're not going to enjoy doing the show with me tonight if we do it.
Yeah. No, that's true.
That's self-awareness, John.
And you noticed we didn't even push back. We were just like, oh boy.
Okay.
And if I'm being honest, I would like to be praised for watching this movie a second time.
Did you watch it end to end again?
I wish you could see my face when you guys were like, yeah, can we do the same movie next week? And I was like, I don't really have a leg to stand on here to say no, so I guess that's fine.
Well, we foiled his plan.
I did not watch it end to end. I picked back up, but I had way more left than I thought I did. Like I was positive I had watched 3 hours of this film. And it was only like 50 minutes or something and it's like it's 2:15. So.
Yeah, it is. It's 2:15-ish. Yeah.
Anyway.
It is two movies squished together, so we can't blame you for being like, surely this is the climax. Oh no, it's the halfway point of the movie.
Yeah.
JK.
Are you
JK.
do you feel better, John, now that you properly
no.
me?
We can do it. Let's go. Let's get into it.
So the body has an immune system, right? And sometimes it just fails. So I don't know what to tell you. Mine more than most, I suppose.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
All right, John, please bring us the word of the day.
Eric, today's word is geomancy.
Yeah, it is.
That is Geomancy. This is a real word in the dictionary, geomancy. The art of placing or arranging buildings or other sites auspiciously. It can also be divination from configuration seen in a handful of earth thrown on the ground or by interpreting lines or textures on the ground. geomancy.
I went to school for the wrong thing.
Yes,
Right?
Yeah.
clearly.
Because I'm already doing like half of this dude's job, which he's basically just a vibe check. He just shows up and he's like, guys, this doesn't feel right.
But he did mention something about feng shui, so
Yeah. It's in there. No, I mean
guess that
this
makes
is
sense.
If you want me to just show up and tell you places don't feel right, I could do that.
so. It doesn't give me a an etymology, but I think we can all kind of put together geo, and then the mancy part. Exhuma. This is, as we were discussing, a South Korean film. It is
Wait,
currently.
you're not going to give me credit for my joke over text?
I was waiting to see if we were gonna.
Which is that geomancy is what that guy was doing in the graveyard in Saltburn.
Oh, yeah, yes.
He was mancing.
So
the
we
geo.
could have worked that in. You know, there's a lot of places that could fit in this in this film. This film currently the highest grossing Korean film of 2024. Worldwide gross of 97 million. So yeah, it comes to us from writer director Jang Jae-hyun. I'm pretty. I feel good about that pronunciation actually. And it is the story. I'm trying to think who. There's not really one person we're going to call the main characters. The main character. It's really, in some ways, this is like a South Korean, not funny Ghostbusters. You have a team of 4 people with different but overlapping disciplines. They are. Oh man, I'm going to give you what is listed as their first, which I think is actually their last name, but there's Choi. He is the geomancer. If people know him, it's because he is the main character in Old Boy, or he's not. He might not be the main character, but he's.
Yes.
He is. Okay, that was 2003, so he looks a lot older now. You've got Kim, who is the woman shaman, I believe.
Thank you for adding shaman. I was just call her Smurfette. Jesus, she's
Wait.
the woman in the group.
She is. I was like waiting for her picture to pop up. So you've Kim, she's the lady shaman. Then you have he is an undertaker. Yeah, you. It's with 2 O's. And then Lee, who is the sort of second shaman. So you have Kim and Lee, they're sort
Just
of
so
like
you understand,
working together.
I'm going to refer to them as like the old guy, the nerd,
Yes.
the lady, and the sexy boyfriend.
And yeah. He's not her boyfriend. He is her like shaman partner. And they
Got it. Well, this
like,
can
work
play
together
into
and
my
not together,
overarching theme of this whole episode is that I didn't understand a fucking thing about any of these characters.
Yeah. Look, we should just say up front, this film is like real deep in
Do shaman
Korean-
partners typically work out at the gym together?
I assume they do a lot of stuff together. They are like on the same wavelength, bro.
Like dating and having sex? Because that's what
you
it
got to
sounds
have that connection, right?
Wait, they were not hooking up in this movie.
No, I mean, no. It's just I don't know.
That's
there's a
you.
vibe there.
You might have
Men
been
and
like,
women can be friends.
Yeah,
just
Eric.
friends, Eric.
have you ever had a coworker that's a woman?
I doubt it.
And we can't speak to their spells, so
This movie is like super deep in not just like sometimes we watch foreign films and it's like you're like taking a short visit to a foreign land and like learning one aspect of their culture. This thing felt like you had to like read a book about South Korea to even know what was going on. So it's worth like getting that out up front. So here's the basic plot. There is a wealthy family. They are having a problem because their newborn son is sick or like crying a lot. And they're like, the doctors can't figure it out. So they contact the shaman, I think, the woman. She comes in to sort of like help. She's like, hey, there's something wrong basically with the ancestral line of this family. And so we need to like go back through their history and like find where there's like basically a curse on this family. People may have already started dying. I can't remember at this point. So she then enlists the geomancer who works alongside the Undertaker. And the 4 of them go and eventually they find there's a grave site where the grandfather, it's actually the great grandfather of the baby, is buried in this like random ass mountain, middle of nowhere mountain site, and they figure or they just basically like whatever through geomancy decide that this is like the cursed part of the family, and so they need to do this like purifying ritual to like get him out of the ground. So they Exhuma, and they get him out of the ground and they do this purifying ritual. The problem is when they do that, the grave gets disturbed, then a ghost escapes. So then they're like, shit, there's like more stuff going on in this grave. So then they go back and they keep digging and they find this fucking huge coffin. That
I would
they
like to point out that you just described, I'm not making this up, 90 minutes of the movie.
Yeah. There's
Yeah.
still like a solid 45 minutes of film left. Or I think this is only the halfway point, to be clear.
Yeah.
Because there's still a whole haunting, and then they go
Yeah.
back. Yeah.
No, but by the time it's like, it's well over an hour though, before they discover the other one and like that whole thing wraps up.
Yeah, so at this point, it basically becomes a monster movie because what you have now is this like giant coffin that's wrapped in barbed wire that was buried vertically. And so then they basically have to deal with this thing. And what comes out of it is like a shogun general dressed like Japanese warlord who just starts like murdering kind of willy-nilly. And they use their Ghostbuster powers. With their powers combined, they defeat him.
Cool. Casey, what'd you think?
I like this a lot. It was not. I had no idea what we were going into. I don't know much about South Korea, so there was a lot of this movie that definitely went over my head. There was a lot of focuses on like the foxes around the grave that I didn't fully grab onto, and things like that. But then there's a lot of the history between Korea and Japan I don't fully understand that I think was significant here, but that would have added more to it. But I still really liked it. I was fascinated by this whole custom of burials and the geomancy and everything. It was just interesting to get their look into spooky afterlife stuff. It was fascinating to watch. It's something that we don't see often here. I liked it when the monster showed up. It was good. But Eric's not wrong. This movie, you really got to be in the mood for a slow burn to get through the first half of this movie. It does pick up in that second half when it turns into a monster movie. The first half, I liked it. It was good, but it is a slog to get through. And if you're not in the mood for that, it's going to be hard for you. I can tell you that. So I'm not shocked that Eric had that struggle with it because it is that slow.
Casey, did you consider pretending to be sick instead of watching?
No, I didn't. Not quite that slow. I was still into it. I was in the mood for a slow movie when I sat down to watch it, so it worked out well.
Nice. Cool. Good for you. Good on you.
Rachel.
I think this movie was really interesting. As I alluded to, and you talked about, it's kind of like two movies smushed together. And I think that actually adds to sort of the thematic layers of the film, because it's like not just a turducken in terms of its like supernatural antagonist, but it's also kind of represents the way that like generational wealth and colonialism are sort of like often layered, intertwined concepts of evil. So that all really worked for me. Like, to be fair, my knowledge of like Japanese what's the word I'm looking for? Occupation of Korea, like essentially comes from The Handmaiden, like watching that movie multiple times for historic reasons and scientific literary reasons. But yeah, so like that, some of that stuff, like it took me a little while to get through, and I also watched it twice, and it was interesting to watch how some of that is seated in, like right from the opening scene when she's on the plane, they mistake her harem, the woman, as for being Japanese, and she like clarifies that no, I am Korean, because it kind of like speaks to like the ongoing sort of hostilities around that. I think the greatest strength of the film is the ghost busting crew. I really enjoyed their interactions. I really enjoyed the way that we got to see sort of through their kind of like funny familial kind of vibe, the sort of occult world that is in this film, and potentially I don't know how much of this is actually based in reality in terms of Korean culture.
There's some, like I think I sent you guys a couple Wikipedia articles that I ended up reading.
Yeah.
That there is like a Korean mysticism that like mentions many of the things that are spread out throughout.
I read nothing.
Yeah, no, I assumed that.
I read a little bits here and there, but I didn't know how much it's part of contemporary culture. So that's actually really cool that it's definitely a part of that. I love his name's like Choi Min-sik, the Geomancer. I also watched I saw The Devil this week, which he's like the lead character in.
Yeah.
It was very weird to go back and watch him as like sweet grandpa in this after watching that
You know what
movie,
this performance is? It's like the supernatural version of like in America we do all these like CSI, NCIS, and there's always an old guy who's just like who knows shit. He's like the Mark
leader.
Mm-hmm.
Harmon of this crew. Is what it is.
Well,
I swear it's the same acting too.
Well, fair.
I was waiting for like the David Caruso one-liners.
I mean, he definitely is. I think that's where some of the humor of this is, like the camp of him and the mortician in particular. Like their dynamics were really funny. And I love Hwarem because she's giving like occult girl boss vibes, and like all of the stuff that she does, especially in the end with the tree. All of that I think is really cool.
I think she's by far the most interesting like human character.
Hard agree. And I think the movie looks great. Like it takes great advantage of that Korean sort of rural setting. It's beautiful. I love the way they use like reflections and the haunting portion of it. I like the fire. I think we have to talk about the use of pig corpses in this because that ritual is not anything I will forget anytime soon. But yeah, I mean, I think on the critical side, there's a lot of exposition because there's so much information you have to have. So if you are someone who doesn't want to watch a scene and then watch it a second time in flashback form with voiceover, you're going to struggle with portions of this movie.
Yeah.
The bar for history and occult, like Korean occultism knowledge is high. So that can be challenging, but ultimately it's like an anti-colonial full core monster creature feature. So of course I enjoyed it. I don't know. I have some quibbles, but
is this
overall.
folk horror? Is that why I didn't like it?
Maybe.
It's
definitely
folky.
full core.
It's
You saw
folky.
that.
It's folky.
Yeah, no, you know what? I think you might be honest on that. John, what you think?
Yeah, I like this a lot. I liked it a lot. I think here's where I came at it from. We've watched, I mean, recently, but then like forever, tons of possession, exorcism things that are based in Catholicism. I mean, almost exclusively, right? So it's like, I've never been Catholic. I don't know any, like I know so much nonsense about Catholic ritual and culture just from like watching all these fucking repetitive ass movies.
Yeah.
This is a movie that hits a lot of the same beats, but like completely different cultural milieu. And I just found it super fascinating. I mean, Rachel, you mentioned the way that, so we were joking that you have the Ghostbusters. They all have like slightly different skill sets. And they're like bringing different expertises to the group. But then they also introduce you to like all these other sort of like an extrapolation of different characters, some who are like kind of on the evil end or like play in the dark arts. And then there's like the more like white hatty type people. And it just felt like such a fully realized, like I felt like I was getting to sort of observe this like fully realized world, because here's the thing, it is a realized world. It's South Korea, and like we just like don't live there, and so like no, but
Is this a riddle? Like, yeah.
No, it's like there's like whatever we've seen. I mean, I've watched lots of Korean movies. Like we've seen lots of Korean movies on the show, but like this felt like a history lesson in a good way. Like I was getting like a cultural education and a history lesson in a good way. Like you got to be like aware that that's what you're walking into. I think it would be helpful, but I think it is really well made. I think the acting is like all super top notch. I mentioned back when we were talking about this last week, but this movie was nominated for like 15 of the Korean Oscars, and all of the actors were nominated in actor, actress, and supporting. So like, and then it won the most quote unquote Oscars of any movie, I mean, so it's like objectively like one of the better made films to come out of Korea, at least this year. And like, I don't know. I thought it was really interesting. It's long. Like I'm not gonna like argue with anyone on that. And like I was definitely confused at a couple moments, especially from the transition when they introduced the like giant. Once you like get to the end of the movie, it's sort of like clear. But
you weren't confused at all until the giant showed up.
Well, it's very clear what they're trying to do. And then they're like, psych, there's actually 2 graves here, you know? And so like I was unclear on like why this ground was evil and like why, you know, why they like missed it the first time through, you know? And so
don't they put the dirt back after why wouldn't you put the dirt back after you finish your ceremony?
Which ceremony? Which one? The first one?
Like they do the initial exhumation and then some shit's still weird, so he goes back and he's digging again, and I'm like, they just like dig up the earth and don't put the shit back. Like,
well, I think they were still investigating, so they had closed it up.
Yeah, well, remember they sent that crew back to basically like close it up, and that's when you get the like snake with the lady's head on it, and then those guys start dying, and so that's when they are like, oh, we got to go back now and reinvestigate. Yeah. So they were like in theory trying to clean it up.
Yeah, I am.
We lost 3 workers now. We better go investigate again.
First of all, I always feel like a rube when I don't like one of these movies, but it just is what it is. I realized because I was really sitting and thinking about like why I find I struggle with subtitles so much. When I can't like read someone's facial expressions or body language when they're speaking because I'm reading text, it makes it incredibly difficult for me to understand the story. Mm-hmm. And it's like, you ever try to read a book and you read a whole page and then you're like, shit, what did I just read? And you don't,
like every night that happens to me.
Yeah.
That's what happens to me in these movies. And so, and like a great example is like in the beginning, we're meeting all these characters that in this Ghostbusters team. I couldn't tell you like what I gave you before about my names for them. That is like the limit of my understanding about any of them. And like, is he her father?
No.
I don't fucking understand this movie, guys. Like, I don't get it. And I'm watching this shit happen. And part of it is like, I can't tell when people are joking because you typically tell how people are joking by like inflection, which I don't speak the language, so I'm not going to get that. Can't get their facial expressions. There's another moment later on where like, there's a guy who ends up being, I don't even know who the fuck he was, like one of the worker guys. Who ends up, he's the one who cracks the coffin open because he's looking for treasure. But if you back up like 5 minutes from that, he keeps saying to our one character guy, like, hey, man, like, I got this. Just go across the street and grab some food. And like in a normal, sorry, I don't mean to say that. In an American movie where I can understand the language, you're probably going like, what's going on with this guy? Like, he's being real weird. In this movie, I'm like, he's so nice. He just wants this guy to like, get a meal. Like, I was fucking picking up none of that. So then I'm like, then he starts going in, he starts doing bad shit. And I'm like, I just can't. I can't follow this movie. So I have a very real struggle with comprehension in general of this film. Mm. That said, like, from the point that the general shows up until the end, I'm like, at least I'm awake. I'm like, okay, cool. Like, the general is cool as hell.
On the poster. At least I'm awake.
This first scene where they encounter him is great. I will say that is a great scene. Mm-hmm. I love he turns into fire, and I love the fireball
fire.
Swirling is a really cool effect. That reminds me of the way almost you'll hear like ancient accounts of strange things happening on battlefields that can't be explained and stuff like, right? There's a very real like fantasy legend kind of vibe to that. I wish they would have showed us more of him. I was getting very frustrated by the low lighting. I don't know if it was just my television or what. But aside from 1 or 2 scenes where he's lit up by the flames, and I guess you see him a little more in the finale, but in this first scene, I'm like, there were cutaways where I'm like, I'm literally looking at a black screen right now, and then I see the character reacting. Like, can I see something? The film gets much better at that point. I think the finale is really interesting. For me, like, there's a really fatal flaw with this film, and it's the pacing and the structure. And I think, like, it's not just that it's long. It is too long. But it's that, like, this whole section where they're digging up we meet the family. They're digging him up. They're doing all this like it's very Ringu like detective work. We're trying to put together what the deal is. That is over an hour when it should be 30 minutes. It feels like, I think you said, I hadn't even thought about it, Rachel, but you're like, it's two different movies. And my problem with that movie is that all of the tension comes from the family member characters sort of being in danger who we don't know or give a shit about. Like, they're not the characters we're
you don't
following.
see them. You're not yet.
Even the fucking baby. The scene where the baby, I'm like, whose fucking baby is this? Like, I don't know whose baby this is. Like, I literally was like, I just don't care about these characters. When they're basically gone and the film shifts over to the Ghostbuster people, it gets just infinitely more compelling because we know these people, we spend time with them, we actually care if they are like hurt or not. I think that this film creates a pretty, to me, like significant sin of like, I watched this general stick his hand in the guts of this guy and then he's just fine in the hospital. Like, they're like, I couldn't even see a wound on this fucking guy. This is like almost Ellen Burstyn eyeball gouging levels of ridiculous, that part. Or like, also made me think of Dewey in Scream 5. I thought it was pretty ballsy that they would kill that character off. But no, like he doesn't even have a scratch.
He's
on him.
in the hospital. He's not injured.
But we're seeing him shirtless and there's no wound. I watched the dude do this with his fucking hand. Like, come on.
It was a ghost hand.
It
was
sucks
a ghost.
the tension. At the point that you do that, I know no one died. None of our characters die in this movie. Except like, okay, fine, he killed the old guy at the end. Like, bro, congratulations for being
The old
No,
guy
he
lived.
lives.
Great.
Everybody lives. They go to his daughter's wedding.
Yeah.
So, I was checked out by the time. By the time I heard music of like this movie's over, I'm like, yeah, I don't give a shit. I'm done. So I think that The General is great. The General is a memorable movie monster. I love the makeup and effects. I think the best scenes in the film are when she is pretending to be like his subordinate. I love that it's like in like a more Catholic-y, American-y supernatural film, this deity would sort of be all-knowing and all-seeing, and so you couldn't trick it. But I love that she's just pretending, and it's just going along with her. And those conversations are literally far and away the most fascinating parts of the movie.
So that was when I was saying that we've seen a lot of these like exorcism-y movies, and they all have the same structure. To your point, it's like the demon is evil. You have this confrontation with the demon. The demon says mean things to the people. You know, it's like here, it's just so, it's like, it is so foreign to our experience of those style of movies. I loved that they could like play with the demon and they were trying to trick the demon.
It was different and it was fun. And I definitely appreciated that part of it. And of course, like, I totally understand there's generational trauma and cultural things being explored here that, like, I'm just not going to understand. Even if I read the Wikipedia article, like, I'm not going to have the same personal connection with it. So, like, I can definitely understand why, like, a native audience would understand it. Just examining it from, like, a movie point of view, I would take that first hour 10 and make it 30 minutes and get to the team stuff and the general much faster.
Well, structurally, you're 100%
you could do that
right.
and still have it be a 90-minute movie. You could cut at least 30 minutes out or more.
The pieces of the like family, like the initial starting point of this movie and then where it actually goes and gets to, I mean, as Rachel, it's two movies, right? But and they do try to like get you to care about this baby a lot, which
don't care about the baby.
Yeah.
I mean, some people might care more about the baby than others, let's just say. Like, but you know.
I have children. I don't care about the baby.
No, fair, fine. But yeah, it is very weird structurally. And then they bring it back at the end. Like, you do see the family, right? There's like it's now been like 2 weeks since I watched this movie, and I've seen 7 other movies since then. But I think you get to see the family, right? They bring him back for like one sequence at the very end. No,
maybe.
I think
There's
I'm
not
pretty
many
sure.
left.
Yeah, I mean, I think pretty much all of them except for the baby and the baby's mother got
Yeah, I think that there's only
Yeah,
like
but I
two
thought
left.
I thought there was a scene of the mom with the baby. I don't know.
Maybe that could. Yeah. I mean, well, I think we see that the baby is stopped. Like the curse has been broken. Maybe.
Yeah.
But I think you need a lot of the. I mean, I agree. I am. You know how I feel about runtimes. I'm like 80 minutes is perfect. But there is payoff to the family stuff in the end because it's all about the family legacy and the way like that. Why the demon exists.
Well, that's the history. The history stuff comes through the family. To your point,
right? Which I kind of loved. I actually love it when I watch a movie and I'm intrigued enough that I'm like I need to read the supplemental material and like I enjoy doing kind of like a deep dive on like some of the other information and
it wasn't
all of the occult stuff.
It wasn't the family that buried the general, though, right?
No, yeah, it was.
Okay.
Yeah. So the reason that he was buried on top was because they wanted to keep the spike from being disturbed. Like the demon existed as the spike to keep breaking sort of the I don't know, the energy flow of the, Korean peninsula. So that like kept him there so that he would be undisturbed.
But Casey, you're saying the family didn't bury the I thought
the anima was buried. Yeah, I thought the anima was buried by another group of people that lived in the area before, and then the family at some point buried the general on top to reinforce it.
No, well, the general
I could be wrong.
is different. The general is the anima, and then there's like the great grandfather who gets buried on
top. There's the Japanese loyalist.
You guys sound insane.
Yeah.
Right
Gotcha.
Yeah. Look, that part is confusing. that's the piece where you're like, wait, there's two bodies in this grave, but. Yeah.
But I love the general in this movie, but there was things like when they had the reveal of the general, and we finally see him full on, and they realize that they start telling us who the general is. That was one of those moments where I feel like I was missing out because I don't know the history between Korea and Japan so well. So when they revealed that it was a Japanese general or created by a Japanese general, I feel like it would have. If I was Korean, that would have a lot more of an effect on me on that reveal.
I mean, I understand enough about the era of world history they're talking about to know it was bad.
Yeah, well, and there's a fair bit of the plot that hangs on this like idea of sympathizers and people who were, Korean descent, but basically enablers of the Japanese occupation. That was the piece that was pretty interesting. I mean, Rachel, as you said, like I went back and read, probably for like an hour and a half after I watched this movie, because I did find it super interesting. I mean, I also went and read about geomancy because I'm like, this can't, and then it's like, no, this is like a thing that exists. I mean, there's all kinds of shit in the United States. Like this isn't just in Korea, but I think it is like culturally more. At the surface, let's say, they show the geomancer, his like coda scene other than his daughter's wedding is he's like consulting with a builder about the like direction that a building that he is like, that's basically done being built. And he's like, I told you to face this the other way, basically. And the guy's like, shit, so, I don't know.
I mean, I love all of that. And to your point, like I love the way that the occult was represented. All of the rituals, whether it was like the insane pig corpse one, or
that was bananas.
When like the three sort of like with like the shaman ladies were all in the hospital room, like teasing out the possession, like whatever possession situation was happening, like all of that is stuff that I had never really seen before, and I hadn't really put it together. But you're right, it manages to freshen up the least fresh subgenre in all of horror. Like if I never see another demon possession movie that is, I've seen it. It's done. I saw The Exorcism, and nothing since then has lived up to it. So,
I like that the one lady shaman who once the demon started showing up, and her attitude changed to kind of like, "Hey, shut the fuck up."
They're like sassy, take no nonsense. Yeah, I love the two sort of like they weren't even assistants. They were just like other shaman that she calls in. They're doing the one ceremony, but then they like leave them there with it's with the helper, the boyfriend helper, the fake boyfriend, Eric's fake boyfriend helper, when he's in the bed.
It's sexy
Yeah.
boyfriend, John.
Sexy boyfriend.
Sexy boyfriend.
He's
With his
No,
really fake
yeah.
looking tattoos.
yes.
I love that moment when they pull up to the roadblock and they all have all the writing all
Yeah,
over their
yeah.
faces.
Yeah.
And they're like, "Ugh."
The guy who plays the Undertaker, legit funny. Like he's just funny.
Yeah.
You know, he's the Bill
Glasses?
Murray of yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
The nerdy one, Eric. The
Pretty
nerd.
guy, yeah.
Yeah.
Because he
Yeah,
has
he's
glasses,
amusing.
John.
Yeah, obviously.
Yeah.
I say that as the only person on this call without glasses on, so
I can say it, those are my people.
they are.
Also, John, my children are half Korean. John.
I you know feel like maybe you should be explaining more of this Korean culture to us. You know,
I don't think so.
you got to show this movie to the girls.
Yeah,
That's what has
I mean-
to happen.
Never Ending Story 2. Then
This is your culture.
then I saw the devil.
yeah. Yeah, dude, they've got some great movies to work through when they
Where,
grow
I don't
up.
think this movie was Korean. Where's Parasite from?
No, that's yeah, absolutely.
I mean, what's
'Cause it-
interesting is both the sort of like wealthy families are named the parks, and I was like, because I found myself thinking about Parasite when I was watching this, because it
Well-
gets at class in a similar way.
I thought about it only because it's maybe the exception to the rule for me, where that's a film that's really subtly, it's like a like pitch black comedy, and like I actually got it. Like I actually understood the nuance of that movie, which I think is why it just is so impressive in hindsight. That movie, it got through to me, is what I'm saying. So like that must be good.
Eric, I really feel like you're not giving yourself enough credit for being able to watch foreign movies. I don't know. If you're like,
It's just hard, man.
yeah. I mean, I think some are harder and some are easier. I mean, to your point, and some of them look like this required a lot of like background knowledge
Being
that
sick
I
did
almost
not help, but still,
say
Yeah.
again.
being sick did not help.
No, well,
No,
absolutely.
like you were
not.
spiking a fever, and this thing is a fever dream.
Yeah.
Yeah. My favorite scene was sort of that first exhumation when Lady Shaman and the younger two Sha people like go at it. Oh man,
Yeah.
it was
Shaw
great.
folk.
She's like dancing and he's playing the drum or whatever he's doing. I mean, that was
Wild.
just, and the way it's shot, like the sound is crazy. Like really good scene.
I was fascinated the first time we saw the Geomancer guy when during that first exhumation, and they popped open the coffin and he just jumps straight in and starts rifling through all the stuff that's left in there.
You don't need metal in here. Like, yeah. I also really liked all of the ghost stuff. Actually, like the way that they used reflection. Those scenes I thought were pretty great.
Yeah.
And when they just started like capping the entire family, I was like, wow, this movie is actually kind of going there in a way I wasn't.
Oh
expecting.
yeah. I mean, you referenced Handmaid. I mean, a lot of these Korean movies like don't fuck around. Like
They go hard.
Yeah,
they
yeah,
go
yeah.
hard. I mean, that's the thing is when I'm sitting down for a Korean horror film, I'm like, all right, I need to like brace myself. The runtime is going to be long. The patience will be tested, and they're gonna go fucking hard.
Mm-hmm.
And this one I feel like goes less hard than a lot of other ones, but
yeah.
Yeah.
But
And it takes
the
them
other
too
two
long to
things.
get there to.
like I know
For the
everyone
hardest
loves
to
The
go for.
Wailing. That movie is very long.
Yeah. Well,
What
it's
is
over
a
3
very
hours, I
small
think.
payoff. at the end.
Yeah.
I know that's blasphemy, but
No, I've not watched it because of how long it is. It's like been on my list for a long time, but
it has a great ending.
All right. Would you recommend this, Casey?
Yeah, I think so.
Rachel?
Yeah.
Jonathan?
yes.
It's a no for me, dog.
I don't think we mentioned it's on Shudder. That's
is.
where we watched. So,
Yeah.
you know, for the Shudder files.
Yep.
Stupid Shutter. Lost my place, too. I had to go find it when I went back.
Everything was working against you. Like, this movie never had a chance.
The Shudder app could really use some
That's
TLC.
fair.
Yeah.
That's fair.
All right, let's take a quick break and do some fan mail.
Someone should buy Shutter.
Send feedback to info@bloodygoodhorror.com or on Twitter using hashtag AskBGH. Join
Are we getting the top
Patreon
10
to
list
get
up?
back episodes and much more. Patreon.com/bloodygoodhorror.
What's it? There's like something hanging on the bottom of that list.
No, you got some sense. And back. Just reading through the comments, John. Mike says, Samurai Monster? Oh, fuck. Now I need to see this.
He doesn't really do samurai stuff. Like, if you go into it thinking he's going to be... He just is, like, wearing a samurai outfit.
Dr. Frankenbarbie, whose name I like. Is this a
Damn.
person on Slack? Do I know this person? Says, thanks to Mike, now every time he says the general, I'm picturing that little military car insurance guy instead of the samurai monster.
Oh, that's funny.
And Jay says, headline, Eric hates babies.
Wow.
That's not inaccurate. Baby crying noise?
Oh,
You better
There
hope there's
was,
not a cliff nearby.
there was, like, a really...
To be clear, I'm going to
extended
jump off the cliff. I'm
scene.
not going to throw the baby off the
Yeah, no, I knew where you were on that. No, there was like it's like the first 10 minutes of this movie, there's like a very aggressive baby crying sound that plays for like a minute.
There's
I swear
just
to God, it
something,
went way too
dude,
long.
when you've just gone through years of nights of that, it's instant rage. Maybe for women it's a different emotion. For me, it's pure fucking rage. When
No,
I hear it.
I hear you, bro.
They hit a pitch that like you can feel on a cellular level.
Oh my god.
Oh yeah.
When I see a small human on a plane, I'm like, fuck. Because I know I'm going to hear it.
Okay. I'm trying to decide if I'm going to read this because it was funny, but I don't know if I can read it in a funny way. Okay, this is from Frankenstein. I don't know who this is. Oh, wait. This is somebody on Slack. Yeah, I
Yeah.
don't know who that is.
Does it start with a PH?
Oh, it's Sebastian.
Yeah.
Not a question, and I haven't seen the movie, but I re-listened to the Lisa Frankenstein and Infinity Pool episodes, and I wanted to share 2 gems. Rachel, I come here as the resident Lisa Frank expert. It comes with the boobs. He says, brilliant, dry comment, completely unremarked upon.
Remember that. It's true, though. It did come with the boobs.
Infinity Pool episode. Casey, technically poop is not like fluid, right? Eric, it's Casey, depends on the situation. Eric, it's a non-Euclidean solid. Actually, it depends on how much fiber you eat. John, you might need to go back to Wikipedia for that one. John's feudal gesture to the rational is completely unremarked upon. I forgot about that non-Euclidean solid joke, but I was pretty proud of that one. That was your word of the day or something, wasn't it?
Maybe.
Euclidean, I think, was.
It might have been, yeah.
I haven't read this, so let's find out what it says. This is from
Oh,
Jace.
boy.
What is your biggest horror regret / shame? I've got a couple. The biggest one by far is that I've never seen The Exorcist or either of the original sequels, although I somehow watched both those terrible concurrent prequels that came out in the early aughts. I've also never seen either the original or remake of Candyman, although at least I read Clive Barker's original story. Oh, la-dee-da. Can't recommend the Books of Blood enough. Finally, before recently discovering and becoming obsessed with this podcast, I had never heard of Joe Bob Briggs, and I still haven't ever seen an episode of his show. I'm starting to think I might need to get on Shudder. Okay, we have so many things to talk about.
I feel like
now,
you
Jace.
can't just like jump into new Joe Bob if you don't have the like
False. I disagree. I know people who've done it. Here's
Yeah.
why, John, because you have the lovely soft entry of Bloody Good Horror Slack.
Oh,
Yep.
sure.
Because-
Okay, fair.
Because it's just a fun hang. Like, Shudder's like $5 a month. Jace, you're already on Slack. Friday nights, it's every other Friday. I think it starts at 9 Eastern.
There's one this week.
6, yep. And there's just a bunch of people there chatting who stay for the movie, and you can just crack jokes together and
Yeah.
have fun. And
Yeah.
it's a great
I'm
time.
just saying, as someone who like watched a lot of Joe Bob growing up, and then like I tried to dip into one of the Shudder ones, and I'm like, oh boy, he's
John.
getting so old.
No, it's the long rants for me for sure, but that's when you're in the chat and you're just that's when you get your snack, you know.
Yeah.
But he does give amazing like just factoids
No,
about the movies and history and
Yes,
all kinds of
strongly
shit.
agree.
Yeah, well, that's what's good with the modern Joe Bob, and it doesn't happen every episode. But if he has a good one that's like historical for drive-in trashy movies, he gives a lot of the film history behind it, which is the best part.
And sometimes you just get to see like absolutely unhinged weird shit, which is awesome.
I mean, I would still say like an all-time great BGH moment, bar none, is John Shelton putting together the Joe Bob section of the trivia, where all he did was play the stats, and then you had to guess which movie it was. Do you guys remember this? You're all looking at me.
The drive-in
I guess
totals.
Rachel wasn't there, but yes,
I remember
it was
that.
incredible.
It was good.
Was that during our trivia?
Yeah, it was during trivia. It was during the live trivia. It wasn't on the show, obviously, but
Dr.
Shelton
Frank and
just-
Barbie is Caitlin from Slack.
Ah.
What up,
Coast Caitlin.
Caitlin?
Levi says, "Did you know cats attempt to imitate the sound of crying babies because they know it will get our attention?" I read the same thing
Why I
about.
can hear it in my uterus.
Rachel just told us last episode that the cats don't meow naturally. They do it for us.
All right, so we
right.
can answer his question though. So first of all, I would say, I will never shame you, Jace, but you cannot go wrong with Candyman or the original Exorcist. Don't worry about any of the sequels, like whatever. If you really love the Exorcist, you can watch the third one. It's fine, but like, watch the first two. I mean, I would even say Candyman first. Like, Candyman's such an incredible movie.
And the new sequel, woman directed. Check it out. It's great.
No, but I
we're
think
supportive of the movie,
Coleman
Rachel.
Dominguez.
I think you have to
know.
watch them in order.
I don't know. Are you?
Is my thinking.
I am.
I didn't know there was a new sequel.
I think
Yes,
No,
you do.
you
no.
saw-
She's
we
talking
watched
about
on
the
the show.
remake.
Oh, the
remake.
remake.
It's like
it's a sequel.
remake.
I thought you meant a
It is
sequel to that.
It's a sequel.
It's a sequel.
Yeah,
It's
like,
a
I
sequel.
thought you meant there was a new one from that,
Characters
like
from
direct
the
to
first
video or
movie in
something.
the second movie.
You're
I don't
right,
think
you're
it
right.
hits
I'm sorry.
without seeing the first film though as much.
No, you need to see the first
100%.
movie first.
100%. Don't worry about Farewell to the Flesh and all that bullshit.
Yeah.
Go straight from.
I would
that one
love
to
though to see Jace's review of both of them, Jace. So the Candymans. So give us your
The Candy Men.
candy males.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I think my biggest one is I still haven't seen Maniac.
Oh yeah. So what are our horror shames? Man,
And I watch a lot of trashy movies,
Yeah,
so I'm surprised I haven't watched it.
Maniac is fucking awesome.
My list of like stuff in the 80s is like I got a lot of holes. Like you could throw out 10 movies and I might not have seen 5
Yeah,
because like I
there's-
watched whatever we had VHSs of at the video store and that my parents would let me get, and then I basically moved into the 90s and so
You know what my one is, and it's not horror, but I've never seen 2001.
Me
And I'm
neither.
Really?
I'm a huge Kubrick fan, so it's like I need to see it.
Never seen it. I have like,
Guys,
like
what?
I've seen very, very little Kubrick. I've seen obviously The Shining. I'm not a monster.
yeah, okay.
We should do a series, Rachel.
Eyes Wide Shut?
Yeah, I've seen that.
Come on, I know my Rachel and she's seen Eyes Wide Shut.
Fidelio.
I think my dad let me watch 2001 the first time when I was like 11 or 12, and I had no idea what the hell was going on.
Yeah, you could totally show that to like a 10-year-old. Like I
Yeah.
mean, I could try that with my son. It's very slow. Like it's very slow by modern standards. So
I ADHD'd out for a second. I thought you were still talking about Eyes Wide Shut.
no, that's less slow.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's my shame. That's it for email.
Did Rachel shame? Did you give a shame?
Oh God, I have so many shames. Like you have no idea. I've only seen like half of the Friday the 13th. I've only seen like half of the Nightmare on Elm Streets.
I mean, I couldn't tell you which ones were which. I've seen them all. I'm almost positive, but Eric can name
could-
specific kills.
I could describe the entire plot to you of every movie right now if you wanted.
Yeah, I
No,
think I've
I
seen,
don't.
like,
I don't want that.
yeah.
I don't think I've seen. I definitely have not seen all of the original Halloween run. Like
Yeah,
I
me
probably
neither.
haven't seen
Have you ever
5 and
seen Halloween
6.
4?
I think I've seen 1 through 4.
It's real good.
Yeah.
I don't know if
That's when where he comes back. Like that's because it's after 3. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
Good times.
But
So
yeah,
much
we have
shame.
a thing we do every year on Zombie Girls called Shame Holes, where we all like fill a shame hole.
Oh, nice.
Mine are always the most shameful. Like everybody else is going for deep cuts, and I'm like, well, I should probably see the first Friday the 13th.
I mean, honestly, yeah, like I
come
have
on.
tons of them, but they're
I've seen
not.
it. It was a
I have
shame
tons of them, but they're not horror because all I do is watch horror pretty
Yeah.
much. I've seen American Movie, the documentary, like 60 times.
He's seen like 20 other documentaries.
All 20. Like if I like a documentary, I will fucking I will watch that shit. I will wring every ounce of dopamine out of that movie. Until it's gone.
I'm still waiting for you to give me the list of giallos I need to see, because that is like, as a genre, I've seen Suspiria. That's the list.
I would ask somebody that's like, first of all, I wouldn't even call Suspiria a giallo. Like
Well,
the
then I've
giallos
seen
are
zero giallos.
the giallos are more the like hard boiled like
Yeah, like the
whodunits that are
detective
also really
V
violent.
ones. Yeah.
I've seen a
Yeah,
lot of,
like and they're
giallo
slashery. Where
inspired, but
Suspiria, have you seen Inferno?
no.
Dude, did you like Suspiria?
Yeah. I like
Watch
the remake
Inferno.
better, but
You need to talk to Joe Ferry.
Remake's
Inferno,
better. Strong
Inferno
agree.
is my favorite Argento film, probably, and it's other than like opera maybe. But yeah, giallo, go to Joe Ferry. 'Cause
He'll
he
give you a whole
actually knows-
primer.
He actually knows
Okay.
the genre.
Okay.
I'm of the opinion that like there's a few of them that are really good, and a lot of them that like you'd have to really be into it to get into most of that.
Yeah.
Shit. Even some of the Argento, like
yeah.
I tried to get into because I'd seen Inferno and the other one, Suspiria, early on when I first started blogging, just before we started this show, and then I decided, well, I need to start seeing other giallo movies so I could learn about them, be able to talk about them. And I picked a deep cut one, not knowing what I was getting into, and I got done. I'm like, oh, that's the end of that experiment for a while.
well, yeah, like even so, like okay, so Argento, right? Like Tenebrae is an incredible film, so good. It's like that classic giallo kind of thing. So then I went and watched Cat o' Nine Tails, which is an early Argento, hated it, and then I watched Four Flies and Grey Velvet, hated it. That's that pool where I feel like I'm like I don't know, I don't love it that much.
Yeah.
New York Ripper's pretty good, but I don't think I'd recommend that to anybody because it's a psychotic movie.
Okay.
All right, we got a couple threads out there. First up from our buddy Metal Prof. In the pantheon of digging up dead people movies, does this rank higher or lower than Necromantic?
Is that a
seen
shameful if I haven't seen that?
No, you're
No,
probably
I haven't
okay with that.
Oh,
There's a
think I
Joe
saw-
Bob on Necromantic.
I saw part of it. Yeah, I don't think I saw the whole
Isn't
thing.
that's like it's like a necrophilia thing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't seen it. I'm familiar. I am like aware of it, but yeah.
Yeah.
I believe there is a Joe Bob episode out there, though, so if you're feeling brave there, Jace.
I think he did 1 and 2, didn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, I think it was the double feature night. I would say this one ranks better because, you're not really gross, feeling like ashamed of yourself by the end of it.
I'm trying to think of movies that have better, like I the first thing that popped into my head was now my brain has short circuited. Raimi, girl
Sam?
button gypsy curse. Why can I not
Drag
think of
Me
it?
to Hell.
Drag Me to Hell. That like lightning striking scene where she's
Yeah.
digging up the grave is pretty great.
There's that movie Cemetery Man.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Pretty good movie. Didn't we talk about Dead and Buried? Isn't that a cemetery situation? No.
Buried is not.
It's next
Yeah.
to a cemetery.
It's like a
Oz
fishing
Perkins
town
movie,
thing,
by the
isn't
way.
it?
Yeah.
No, not Dead and Buried. I'm sorry. Dead and Breakfast
No,
was
Dead
Oz
and Buried
Perkins.
is an 80s film with
Yeah, I got him confused.
Freddy Krueger. What's his name?
Robert Englund.
Robert Englund. Thank you.
Yeah. I feel like I watched that a long time ago. Yeah, in any event. Cemetery Man. There you go.
All right, and then our other thread for tonight comes from our good buddy Popcorn.Designs. If you could curse anyone in your family, who would it be? My brother-in-law is deserving of some cursing as of late.
Man, I don't have anyone in my direct family. I got a couple brothers-in-law, though, that, you know.
Sure. No one is safe from my wrath.
I'll take the easy answer. My stepbrother's already cursed his damn self, so...
I mean, it depends on the day.
You wouldn't want to pile on.
Right.
Like, I think the person who steady gets the curse is my brother-in-law, but it's my sister occasionally.
I do have a cousin I wouldn't think twice about, so I'll go with that. And that's it for threads.
Oh. Guess who's not ready with Instagram? John, I know my first question because it was from actually last week, but Tasha would like to know what you thought of Twisters.
Yeah, Twisters, fan of Twisters. So my son and I, we watched.
Could you reenact the whole thing for me right now so I don't have to go see it?
Did you see Twister 1? Twister.
How on a scale of 1 to 10, how like nostalgia baity is it?
Pretty low. It's, I would say, like a 2 or a 3. Like there's really, look,
like,
it's basically
it's not just like have they invented some kind of new tech?
Oh yeah, well there's like lots of different tech stuff. Dorothy is in it, so like, but they don't even reference, because you remember like the first movie's all about Dorothy 1, 2, and 3. There's like 4 Dorothys
That's
or whatever.
The little things with the pot.
It's the pots that they're trying to like release into the tornado. So my son and I watched Twister on Friday night, and then Saturday morning we got up and went and saw Twister. So I had seen them like back to back, literally like within 24 hours. It's like almost, it's not a remake because I actually think it's better than the first one, just like plot structure wise. It's not as like adult. Like the first one has a lot of like adult theme. Like it's about like them getting divorced, and he's got the like other girlfriend that's like running around in the tornado. You've got Philip
Gertz,
Seymour Hoffman,
John.
who's just,
Use her God-given name, John. It's Jamie Gertz.
Oh, Jamie, you're right. Jamie Gertz. She's, I mean, delightful. She's good in the movie too. But the second one, it's like all about what's her name? Daisy something Jones. Daisy, what's the actress's name? I can't remember.
Sounds right.
But I think that there's like a middle name too. In any event, you got her.
Daisy Edgar Jones.
Yeah. And then you've got Glenn Powell. And then the guy who was in Hamilton, whose name I'm forgetting. And like, they're just like young and like handsome and good looking. And like, they're all kind of running around. The storm stuff is just like heads and shoulders better because all the effects are so much better. And I actually like Glenn Powell's like a YouTuber storm chaser, and then there's like
he's like one of these guys I'm watching on Twitch.
Yeah, and then there's like the startup that the Hamilton guy created, and they're like the technology, like we use technology to stop storms, and he was like in the army, and so they have like a defense contract, and so it's like the YouTuber sort of like.
But I bet their technology can't outwit down home folksy wisdom.
It absolutely cannot. No, well, so Daisy Edgar Jones, she's the one who like can read the storms the way that what's his name, Paxton can in the first movie, and so she's like the secret weapon that like no one can do it.
I'll be honest, like I love the original Twister.
It's a good movie.
If it's on cable, I'm watching it. Right? Yeah. I haven't had cable in 15 years, so that's like an old. That doesn't carry weight anymore. But I've been.
If it's at Blockbuster, I'm watching it.
Yeah, exactly. I've been shocked by people's excitement for a 2023 Twister sequel and their willingness to go to the theater to see it. Like I just don't.
No, it did really well.
With that Glenn, I think
Glenn
that's
Powell.
part of it.
Look, he's
great. I don't get Glenn Powell.
I love him. I'm pro Glenn Powell.
I don't like his face. I just don't. I don't understand.
Look, I think it's a fun watch. It's a fun watch. I think it's better in the theater because like it's all spectacle. Like, don't kid yourself. You're gonna have like a life-changing experience. Like you're there to see tornadoes like fuck stuff up, and like we saw it in IMAX. Like I went to the biggest IMAX screen in the city because I was like, if we're doing this, we're doing it up, and it was a good time.
My Twister experience peaked at Universal Studios, so
Yeah, it's a good time.
Next up from Whitney, what is your favorite cereal? I don't eat cereal, so I'm going to answer from a previous version of me, and that answer would be Fruity Pebbles.
Gross. They get too waterlogged too quickly.
Oh, no, that's when they get good.
I mean, they are tasty. Like I'm not saying they're, but
You ever had like a Rice Krispie treat, but made with Fruity Pebbles?
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go probably Honey Nut. My kids eat a shitload of cereal. Like we have a lot of cereal around the house. I try not to eat it, but occasionally I will go Honey Nut Cheerios. That's probably if I'm like really just like treating myself.
You remember Honey Bunches of Oats? That's what I used
Delightful,
to
yeah.
get into.
Yeah.
Cinnamon Toast Crunch. Period.
Ooh.
Over. It's done.
This is actually like people will think this is a vile answer, but I was in like when I could still eat gluten. This was years and years ago. I was in like a health kick, but I was like looking for cereal, and I started eating Weetabix. I don't remember had it. It literally is like a hunk of wheat. Like you got to break it apart. Mm-hmm. It's wild.
Yeah.
It's so good.
I'm not a big sugar guy either, but when I do, it's usually Raisin Bran Crunch. I do like that stuff a lot. I can kill off
Now
a
I
box
really
if I'm
want
not
some Cinnamon Toast
supervised.
Crunch.
Yeah.
That sounds good.
And Mike says he's going to say grape nuts. I did not. No, grape nuts are fucking awful.
I used to eat
Even
grape nuts when I was younger.
Really?
Matilda loves
yeah.
grape nuts. Like that's like comfort food. For
You
her.
can't
She,
even
like,
chew
gets-
them. They're like
She
rocks.
gets. I don't get it. I don't like it, but she gets into the grape.
You
nuts.
gotta
She's
let the
about that
milk
life.
set for a little bit. It's almost like you gotta let it sit a second, and then you can start eating it.
A second.
Isn't the whole point of cereal is you can shove it in your face immediately?
Right, it's
Yeah,
an
but, like,
immediate-
they
it's an
are,
immediate
like,
It's
rocks.
supposed to be instant
kind of food.
gratification food.
When you pull them out of the box, they're
You know what's funny? I
inedible.
talk about
And
this
you
a
have
lot,
it
but
with
like,
your orange juice this tall, and then also eggs and bacon for the complete breakfast. Everyone knows this.
it's funny because like I talk about this a lot, but in the '90s, like people just didn't have the same understanding of like sugar being the problem as they do now, right? Where like everything we ate in the '90s that was supposed to be healthy for us was just packed with sugar, and my parents would not allow Cookie Crisp in our house. That is Cookie Crisp is like crack. Like that cereal is incredible. But meanwhile, they'd buy all this whole other myriad of cereals that had the same zero fiber and the same exact sugar content. Like just in a different package, but it looked crunchy. And so they were like, oh, we'll get this thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I grew
No
up on
one
this.
was reading, for people who don't know, like youngins, not a goddamn person was reading labels in the 90s, especially
Yeah.
parents.
No.
No, I grew up on like the store brand imitation that came in the bag.
This was like my parents not letting me have Nestle's Quick, but I could have Ovaltine.
Just as much sugar, just tastes kind of crappy.
The glass is round.
Like the vitamin A they added to it makes a difference in the healthiness. Man. Okay. Oh, it's my turn.
Yeah,
Really
it's still
want
you.
cereal.
Let's get political. You're running for president. Which pro wrestler is giving a speech, dead or alive?
Andre the Giant.
No, he was the worst. He was.
I was gonna have what was the Undertaker? The Paul Bearer. Paul Bearer.
Paul
Isn't that his
Bearer.
name?
Paul Bear.
Yeah.
Holy shit, that's good. My answer. I was giving a modern answer of CM Punk. I think is your answer. But then I was just thinking about this, and I'm like, man, Roddy Piper. No one gave a better coked out promo than Roddy Piper.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
Although occasionally would veer into like too racist even for 80s WWE territory. Like he's had stuff that they've literally cut from their archives.
What was it? He was called like the Barber Shop. Wasn't that his like? Didn't
No.
he have?
No, he had you're thinking of Brutus the Barber.
Oh, you're right.
Beefcake?
Yeah, the
Yeah.
beefcake. Yeah. Sorry.
Happened to be a beefcake and a barber.
No, Roddy Piper had Piper's Pit.
Piper's Pit. Okay, I was like, I know he had a thing. I can't remember what it was. But... Rachel, do you have one?
I mean, I don't know enough of him for a funny answer, but like the first person I thought of was Mick Foley, just because like he's done,
Yeah.
you know,
Like he could
he's, like-
actually give a good
As
speech.
mankind.
yeah,
does.
I mean, like he's
As
actually a good dude. You know what I mean?
As mankind, just doing his
Yeah,
bit.
yes,
did
as
I-
mankind, yes.
doing the what's the sock called? Didn't he
Socko.
like sock?
Yeah, Sacco. Now that I think about it, what about Brother
Holy
Love?
shit.
Remember, he used to do those like interviews in this chapel or whatever.
Yeah, that guy. Fun fact: that guy is really high up in the company now.
Yeah. Is he still red?
Yes, but it's just his blood pressure. No. What is your go-to food or beverage when you are sick?
Ooh, chicken broth.
Nutter
Or
butters.
chicken bouillon.
Chicken soup. Yeah, it's just carbs. Like carbs all day. When I'm
Yeah,
sick.
I was gonna
Just
say
like,
Gatorade. It's like
feed me.
that
Yeah.
when you like feel like you really gotta hydrate and keep it
Yeah,
moving.
Gatorade's the one I keep at my side all the time, and then you
I'll do
mix
like
in
a-
some chicken bouillon now and then.
like a vitamin water zero.
Jesus.
just
You
like
guys are all picking things that actually support your body. I was like, Nutter butters.
Like a diet ginger ale.
Yeah, sure.
Like I keep that elder
No,
millennial
I'm not
thing.
kidding.
So tasty. I get it.
When
get it.
I don't feel good.
Like I will always retain that elder millennial thing because my mom literally would like pour me ginger ale and stir the bubbles out, like when I had like a stomach bug or something.
That's so sweet.
Like it
Now
did
I
nothing.
want Nutter
like,
butters
but
now too.
it made me feel better.
They're so good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Any good horror books set at camp?
Oh, said it can't.
Does the novelization of Jason Lives count? You tell me.
A quick camp aside, we were touring camps. Like we've been, I can't remember, maybe I mentioned this, but we're like looking at sleepaway camps for my kids for next summer, not like
So
obviously.
wild.
And one of them had a movie theater that was like pretty nice. And on the wall, they had posters, and every poster was a movie from a camp, like a camp movie. And so it was like, whatever, Indian Springs, I think is the name of one. There was like Meatballs, whatever. But then they had a fucking little sleepaway camp poster like back behind the projector area.
Oh, nice.
I said something to the guy. I'm like, have you seen this movie? Because like,
Hattie?
no.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah. I was like, yo, some kid is going to go watch this movie and you are going to be like having some problems. But yeah. I have nothing on horror books at a camp though.
Yeah, I can't think of one off the top of my head.
Counts because it's not like a summer camp. It's about a conversion camp.
Oh, that's
Very
good.
different vibe. This author is not known for his. Well, I mean, he's becoming more known for his horror novels. But are you familiar with the works of one Chuck Tingle?
Yeah.
Oh, I know that name.
It's like all of the like pounded in the butt by a T-Rex erotica guy. Like, but he's amazing. And he's written a couple of horror novels, and there's one called Camp Damascus about a conversion camp, and it like I have to say, as funny as his covers are, they're like the sweetest, most gentle erotica you've ever read. Like, I highly recommend it. It's actually very, like I said, very sweet. Like he breaks the fourth wall. Oftentimes we'll be like, all right, this is the part where the protagonist has to treat her poorly for the story arc. But if you're in a relationship with someone and they treat you in this manner, do not continue to date them. Like he's like taking care of the readers. And so it is a horror novel about the horror of conversion camp for these queer characters, but it's not one that is like deeply traumatic. Like it does like take care of the reader, and is ultimately kind of about kindness, but it's really, really good and creepy. So Camp Damascus.
Okay.
I don't have a minute.
Sorry, I'm giving nothing but serious answers tonight.
That's good.
Best
That
double
and
feature.
Nutterbutters. So
Best double feature for a drive-in summer at night. Drive-in summer night.
Dr. Giggles and Shocker.
Larry Drake. No, Larry Drake isn't in Shocker, is he? No, it's Mitch
No.
Pileggi.
Yeah.
how about
Yeah.
47 meters down and then Jaws?
I would flip those, but yes.
Yeah, I couldn't decide which one should go first, but okay. fair enough.
Friday the 13th, the original, folled by Return of the Living Dead.
Oh,
Hey,
There you go.
very nice.
The
good one.
best summer horror movie.
It's a great movie.
I actually called mine out during on Slack during the Joe Bob airing of Dr. Giggles a couple weeks ago. It struck me then that it's like, Shocker would pair really great with this, and then I watched Shocker that following Sunday, and it works out well.
Shocker is a deeply, deeply weird movie. I did end up sending Rachel that Instagram account of the guy who's making all the final meals of people who were executed and then ranking them.
It is the most.
It's like it's like an Instagram cooking video.
Internet thing I've ever seen in my life.
It's like an Instagram cooking video, right? So it's like all ASMR and he's chopping and he's doing his shit. But
Yeah.
while he's doing that, instead of giving the recipe, he's reading out the crimes that the person
Yeah.
did. Like
Wait, people
deadpan,
that were really
that got executed on death row,
wow.
Yes, their
like
final
killers,
meal.
or
Yeah.
no, we don't know. Like maybe they were innocent, but they were definitely executed. He makes their final meal while recounting their crimes. Then we see him eat it, and then he's like, "Oh, this is mid," or whatever. Like he rates it.
Somebody
Some
told
people
me
have some-
recently that they don't really do that anymore.
I said on the show. I
Oh,
read
was that you?
some states were getting rid of it. Yeah, which is lame, dude. Come
Yeah.
on. Last question of the evening.
Where were you going, Rachel?
I was gonna say my double feature, but we can move on. It's
No,
not that
do it, go.
Please do.
Oh, I was gonna say maybe like contemporary Lisa Frankenstein, and because we were talking about it tonight, and
That would
then
be
the
a great-
Heathers.
Yeah.
Others.
Oh, no, Heathers.
Heathers.
Heather's.
Oh, Heathers.
That's yeah.
Heathers.
I can
But I
see
mean,
that.
Sense,
I'd
but I
watch
was
the
just
others
following
again.
you. Man,
I
Lisa
like you
Frank,
yes-anding even when you
Thank
don't know
you.
I was saying the wrong thing.
Lisa Frankenstein would be an awesome like summer night drive-in pick. That would be great.
Yeah.
All right. Last question of the evening. I know this has come up in the past, but what podcasts are you fine folks listening to?
I'll make another pitch for Valley Heat. Everybody needs to listen.
Are
to
you
Valley
still
Heat.
listening? I still have
I've
it
burned
downloaded.
through
on
it
my
all,
phone.
and now I
okay.
have to get the Patreon because there's like 50 episodes behind the Patreon wall,
Mm-hmm.
and I need to know what's happening and to Doug Duguay in his neighborhood in Burbank. It's
I'll back the-
ridiculous. It is so funny though, and like super addictive.
I'll back that one up. I've gotten through the first season, but that's the only podcast I've been listening to too.
It is so funny.
I listen to mostly like what I would call news or like information dense podcasts because I am a cool guy that everyone likes to hang out with.
You know what I want
Youth
less
culture
of?
over here.
John, do you know what I want less of? Information.
No, well, so all
I
right,
have
can
entirely too much information about things that are happening. Right.
Tension? No, this is like so. A lot of times it's not. So maybe my favorite podcast of all time, and maybe I've talked about this on the show. I can't remember. If I have, it's been a while. In Our Time is a BBC radio show that is done by this dude whose name Melvin Bragg. I was about to look it up, but Melvin Bragg. It is every episode is just like random topic. So it'll be like photons, and then the next one will be like fucking
Okay. That sounds
the
wholesome.
Mongol Empire. And he has 3 British professors. They're almost always British. Like occasionally there'll be like someone from like Asia or like a US professor or something. But it's like 3 professors. And he just like leads them on a 40-minute conversation about whatever this esoteric topic. And some of them are so fucking deep. Like there's one that'll be like Midsummer Night's Dream. Like just one Shakespeare play, 45 minutes, 3 experts talking about it. It's like one of the best shows. There's 1,000 episodes. They've been making the show for like 40 years. It's like ridiculous. So,
You just made me think about it. There's a new Hardcore History.
oh, is there?
was thinking
I
of the
didn't know
one
he's.
history
I
podcast
figured
I listened
he
to.
hadn't stopped. But yeah, I haven't.
It's
listened
about
to it.
once a year.
Yeah, Dan Carlin.
Last,
he does.
last
He has a
episode
couple
was
other things.
November 2023, so it's been not
Yep.
quite a year.
Okay.
This new one is
yeah.
called Mania for Subjugation.
And other exciting topics.
I will give 2 completely different answers this evening. I am listening to a show, John, called Uncovered, which is hosted by Ron Filipkowski. Does that name sound familiar?
Oh, I know.
He's like
Ron.
he's a former Republican operative who became a Democrat, and his like whole mission is to like take Trump down. And all they do on this show is they listen to every like the most insane batshit far right like MAGA podcast. All that media that they're all like consuming where they're on, they just say the craziest shit possible. And he like finds the craziest stuff, clips it out, and tries to get it to go viral. That's like his whole business model, basically, to like just expose this. You know what I mean? And so on their show every week, they just recount whatever the craziest shit was.
Yeah, I don't
Yeah,
get that.
Ron
definitely don't get
Filipowski is the editor in chief of the Midas Touch.
He does Midas Touch, yeah. For some reason, it's the only thing. I find it entertaining. It's the only reason I listen to it.
Yeah, he might as
He's
well
funny.
be a staff writer at my company because we follow his Twitter and then just write shit that he likes.
He's a funny dude. He's really good at what he does. Like it's just
Yeah.
it's a very interesting concept all around.
I didn't know about the podcast, but I'm gonna smash that.
It's a YouTube channel. I think the podcast has a YouTube version too, but I listen to the podcast.
I think it's part of the Midas Touch network.
It is. And then totally other side of the spectrum, John. I'm not going to tell you this because you don't care. Rachel, I've been listening to Disrespectfully, which is Katie Maloney's podcast with Dana.
Yes,
it's real good. If you want
I
to
gotta
just
listen to more of it, but
if you want just a fun, chill, happy thing, it's fun.
I really need you to give Valley Heat a shot, Eric. It has the absurdist humor I think you might appreciate. Don't you think, Casey?
Yeah,
Like
it's
it
all
is
about
Curb Your Enthusiasm-esque.
it's all about the weird shit going on in the background.
Yeah.
Essentially.
Have you gotten to the Falcon's Cry?
Yes.
Insane.
It's entertaining.
And and you haven't gotten to Patton Oswalt yet. He shows up as a character.
Yeah, I haven't gotten quite that far yet. I'm getting close. I tell you what, I've been stuck on. It's not a podcast, and I imagine there sure is a podcast version out there, and it's also Rachel's fault as the Jinx.
Oh yes, you're welcome.
I'm sure there's
the HBO show.
Yeah.
He'd never seen it. He's like, he was asking for a true crime documentary. I was like, well, I'm sure you've seen The Jinx, and he hadn't. I was like, well,
Yeah,
I haven't
we'll
start
there.
Yeah.
I just got into the second season after seeing the season finale, and that show is a holy shit all around.
And 100% there's podcasts about this out there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's about Robert Durst, in case you're not familiar out there.
I read a really fascinating
Hometown
article.
hero for John.
I didn't watch the second season of that show, but I read a fascinating article where they were talking about the discovery of that soundbite that they ended the first season on, where he admits it in the bathroom, and how like. Do you know the whole story, John? The Jinx and all that. Like they didn't.
It was
know
like a pretty
there.
big news story when it came out.
They didn't know it was there for months, and like something happened that kind of made them go like, I wonder what else is in these like tapes we haven't listened to, and like so like they almost missed it because it wasn't in the normal stuff they were going through.
Okay, because there's twice in that first season where he was running his mouth with his mic on, and it was hot, and he had no idea. The first time his lawyer came running up right away, and he's like, they can hear everything you say.
Have you ever seen the movie with Ryan Gosling?
No.
It's called All Good Things. Is that what it's called?
Do you know that he's on the commentary track for that?
That's fun.
I'll have to check that out.
That's how the documentary came about. Is he did the commentary track with the director?
It's
and
an
he was saying all
incredible-
kinds of shit where he was like, "Is this guy admitting he murdered his wife?" Like, what
It's
the
an
hell?
incredible movie. It's also got serious Nick Offerman, like the first appearance I ever saw of serious Nick Offerman, which is very interesting.
Nice.
I don't know how to feel about that.
Ryan
just
Gosling
watched-
and Nick Offerman, I'm
He
in.
plays so like Kirsten Dunst is one of the women that disappears, and Nick Offerman plays her brother.
Wild.
But it's like you probably saw it before you knew who Nick Offerman was, so you wouldn't remember. Anyway, what's next week, John? Are we gonna do this goddamn M. Night Shyamalan movie?
Yeah, boy.
You have to.
You know what?
Crap.
As long as there's no subtitles, I think I'll be okay.
Although Cuckoo comes out this week too.
No, I thought Cuckoo
Isn't
was
it?
next week.
Is it?
I
Is
had
it next week?
I had them a
Might
week
be next
apart.
week. Okay.
You saw it though. Are you under? Well, don't tell
No,
us.
I mean I'm not going to spoil it for you, but I liked it. Yeah, I thought it was great.
Cool. Very nice.
All right, John, when we get off here, I want you to give me all the spoilers about that Deadpool movie, but we'll spare our listeners since.
All right.
All right, that's gonna do it. Next week, I hate the name of that movie. What's it called?
Trap.
I hate it.
We can call
cannot
it
wait to
M.
see
Night
if the
Shyamalan's
list
Trap.
comes out next week. That's what I'm like living for now. Is I just want to know, will the list make an appearance?
You're
Wait,
not
what's
listening.
the
Is that the
list?
Shyamalan
top 10.
twist?
Oh,
Never
yeah.
say never. Never say
No,
never.
no.
All right, that's gonna do it for the show. We'll talk to you next week.
See yous.
Bye bye.
Bye-bye.